On today's episode of the Gripe Session, I'm bringing a friend of mine on, and you guys are really going to love this one. My old pal, Ricky G.
It's Gripe Session time with your host, George Wanaka.
It's about nothing.
Discussing everything from real estate, current events, a little bit of everything, and the annoying little things that just tick you off.
You can't handle the truth.
What? You didn't know?
Here's your host, George Wanaka.
Your ass better call somebody.
What's up, everybody? How are we doing today? Welcome to another edition of the Gripe Session. Today, I'm bringing a friend of mine on. This guy he's got his own podcast. He actually helped inspire me to do my podcast. So pretty much, if you're listening to this is the guy you can blame. It's my old friend, Ricky G. Ricky and I have a nice long conversation about new agents in the industry, things that they should be looking into. And it's two friends talking about agents and what we should be doing and that kind of stuff. So I hope you guys enjoy it. And here, without any further ado, here's my pal Ricky. Welcome to today's episode of the Gripe Session. Today is a treat, and what I mean by a treat, I mean for me, not necessarily for him or you, but it's for me.
It's gonna be a treat for them.
It's okay. If you know, modesty has always been your strong suit. Let's put it that way. Wait, that's my line. That's not yours. But anyway, I have a very good friend of mine on the line today. Well, I'm actually seeing him video, so we might throw this up on YouTube at some point. This is my buddy Rick Gonzalez. Rick and I met at the Real Estate Marketing Minds Summit over in Park City, Utah. And one of the things that made me not be able to stand Rick, for those of you that don't know, is I like Rick is because he's a Yankee fan.
I am a Giants fan.
And a Giants fan as well. So Giants are fine, but as a diehard Mets fan, you know, most Yankee fans are arrogant, ignorant, and a whole bunch of other things. Rick's actually not one of them, right? He's actually not one of them.
I've been
nice,
called
man.
worse.
I mean, listen, I'm trying to be nice to a guest, but Dave, you're not making it real easy for me.
You know, because I'm not used to you being nice, so I just came on here with my guard up. We're just waiting for you to like lay into me with all kinds of shit. So
wait, there's still time for that. But
wait, is your podcast explicit? Can I cuss on here or no?
Oh, you absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Wait, is my podcast explicit? What kind of a question is that?
I didn't look, and I wanted to ask because you know some people are not. You know they want to be kid friendly and
no. Listen, if I have no issues whatsoever about cussing at all.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I appreciate you coming on, Rick. Rick's got a podcast as well. Actually, he's part of the reason that this podcast is there in the first. My podcast is here in the first place because I was watching him and a couple other friends, Dustin and Jason, come on here. So this is one of the guys that you guys should be pissed off at that I'm actually doing a podcast to begin with because they just started it. And I'm like, well, hell, they're doing it. It's probably something I got to do myself.
I do not want to take credit for the misery that people are feeling having to listen to you. I mean, it's bad enough having to watch you on video. Now they got to listen to you in their ear all the time.
Hey, listen, I don't have a face made for radio. However, it's
take out an ad, and what's the biggest paper in Staten Island? I'm gonna take out a big ad and just say I'm sorry.
Well, listen, paper. Nobody actually reads the paper nowadays anyway. Everything's on the internet as it is. So what the heck do we care? But anyway, Rick's got his own podcast for agents as well. It's called. Well, Rick, just tell me a little bit about yourself. I don't want to talk about you anymore because I'm going to throw up if I do.
All right. Well, as George said, my name is Rick Gonzalez. Some people know me as Ricky G. That got started a couple years ago when I did my Facebook Live show. But yeah, I've been a realtor for the last 9 years. I'm currently with eXp Realty for the last 2.5 years. I'm down here in Northwest Florida. So for you guys, that's a long way away. But you know, it's warmer down here, down by the beach. If you've watched, USA, Good Morning America or any of those, Destin is the big beach near us. So you might know Destin. But again, I just started my podcast. Christmas Eve was when we launched the first 4 episodes. And my podcast is called the Modern Agent Podcast. It's a complete ripoff of Dustin's Massive Agent podcast. Because I've done just like George. He has Search Staten Island. Well, he stole that from Dustin with Search Salt Lake City.
I didn't steal it. I borrowed it.
And Dustin also has the Salt Lake Insider, which I completely ripped off with my Freeport Insider. So I figured, well, if I'm going to steal all the Dustin shit, I might as well steal the podcast name too. So, but I did discuss it with him first, and so he and I kind of collectively. Frazier was in on the conversation, but Frazier added no value whatsoever. So me and Dustin came up with Modern Agent Podcast, and it's a lot of the same content. Like if you listen to a lot of the real estate podcasts, we're all talking about some very similar, topics. But I like to think that I put my own little spin on it, my own, flavor, if you will. So I've interviewed a lot of the same people, but mine is more targeted to new agents, like 0 to 12 months in the business, or struggling agents, like myself. I'm just starting year 9. And I thought I would be a millionaire many times over by now. And I know everyone is shocked to hear I'm not.
Well, I mean, I've seen your Facebook ads.
So I said, you know what? 2019 has got to be the year that I kind of reinvent myself and really get serious and start treating this like a business, put some systems in place and really put myself out there. So I kind of started the podcast almost as my own accountability partner to push myself. I put my goals out there in one of the first episodes, and I figured, if I'm going to go through this journey, then maybe I can help a few people along the way. So I've gotten some good feedback so far. So at least a few people are listening and enjoying it. So that's good enough for me.
Awesome.
Screw everybody else.
I've listened. Well, yeah, that's the thing. You do some of these things and you wonder, does anybody listening or anybody paying attention? And you've had a great subscription based as well as listeners, which is obviously that's one of the things I'm trying to emulate. And oh God, when I said that, I kind of stuttered a little bit. It's cool. But anyway,
well, it's hard because like some of the people that you and I met out there at REM a couple of years ago, Neil and Dustin, Jason, Chelsea. I mean, like Chelsea, I think she started a podcast not too long ago too. I think she's started about the same time as I did, and she posted weeks ago, yay, I just passed 2,000 downloads, and I was like, holy shit, like I haven't even gotten to 1,000. So even though I'm sitting over here feeling pretty good about myself, and then Chelsea was just like, damn, like she's doing so much better. And then, like Phil Treadwell, he does the mortgage marketing expert. And his podcast gets like 10,000 downloads an episode or something crazy. Wow. So I was like, okay, let me just manage my expectations and be happy with my 200 a week, and we'll just grow from there. So that's kind of where we are.
It was funny. I know when you and I talked, I think it was, last July, and you and I were talking about podcasting and that kind of stuff. And, it was part of the thing of what I wanted to do, but wanting to do something and actually go ahead and finally saying, okay, I got to be disciplined enough to do this in the first place. And hell, if nobody listens to it right away, it means I just got to change it up and kind of go from there. So, but I remember that conversation you and I had in July, and you said, it's not really that difficult once you get it started. Mm-hmm. That was the first part, is just getting it started in the first place. So,
well, it's, I think everyone in real estate, there's so many agents. I was just recording an episode of my podcast right before we got on this call. Mm-hmm. And I was talking to a guy about social media and trying to create content, and everyone gets stuck because they think everything they do has to be new and unique and perfect. And they can't do something that anybody else has done, and it has to be the best. And you couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, you just have to start talking, which is easy for guys like me and you. But for some people, putting themselves out there and having a conversation with, me and you talking here is fine. But when you're just talking to a microphone and there's no feedback, sometimes that can be a little intimidating, because you just imagine your mind kind of takes you to the other place. Sorry, my cat, I think, is in my room and attacking the cords, and my mic and my computer just get almost yanked off my desk.
I was wondering. I was like, oh, wait, maybe he's
I
sponsored
swear
over
to
there.
God,
I
that
was gonna
damn
say
cat.
Dustin has the squirrel as part of. Is that the Dustin is the squirrel? So you have the cat.
She's
So
terrible.
I don't have anything. I feel left out of this whole
It's
conversation.
because I'm at my home office, but anyway, so yes, starting is hard because everyone they overthink it and they think it has to be perfect and they think it has to be something fantastic, like it's going to be on primetime TV or something. And it's not. It's just you talking to people that already know you.
Yeah, I mean that's what Pinky says. Another person that we met at REMM. Pinky
She's
Benson,
crushing it.
who's killing it.
Like
with
I
her
remember
videos.
when she came back from REM, she was all like, "Oh, I don't know,"
Yeah.
and she went all in on it,
And
and
just
she's
went nuts,
crushing it.
man.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I keep hearing her say is everyone thinks that you got to be all made up when you're on videos. Like, no, man, people want to see you like the way you are every single day. Not like, okay, I have a closing today. I'm going to get all dressed up for my closing, and I'm going to take this wonderful picture with a sold sign and market that to everybody else because it's about me. It's not about those people. So,
right. Well, I did a social media marketing class for my local board of realtors here, and I was trying to tell people like you need to do video, you need to do things, and so I told them I just started a podcast, and one of the ladies in the audience, she was like, "Oh, I could never do a podcast. I hate the way I sound." And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, who talks to all of your clients?" And she was like, "Well, I do." I said, "Well, what voice do you use?" And she was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Because you sound that way. You sound the same whether you're talking into a microphone or you're talking to your clients." I said, "So what difference does it make if they listen to you on a podcast? Because you're going to sound the same when you meet them for the showing or for the contract anyway. So don't worry about how you look or sound because guess what? That's you."
And that's, again, I've said this a number of different times. That's the thing with podcasts nowadays is whether it be podcasts, Facebook Live, Instagram, whatever. You have all these people that are out there doing all of the social media stuff where they're having somebody do it for them.
Mm-hmm.
And you could look at it and go, like, I know that person. That shit ain't real. That's not who they are. And people want to see who you are.
Yeah.
With me, I do a lot of stuff with the kids, and the kids are in some of my stuff. I know guys turned me on to Gary V, and I have never seen one of his kids in any of the stuff that he's ever done.
No.
Obviously by choice, but that's, again, it's a personal preference type of a situation. But at the end of the day, you sit back and you go, okay, people want to list with the people that they know, they like, they trust.
Yeah.
And that's really what it kind of boils down to.
Those are good examples though, because there's people that don't want to do social media for business because they feel like I don't want to show all of my personal stuff to my clients. And Chelsea Pites actually she made a great distinction between personal and private. Like she said that she'll go out on date night with her husband and she'll do an Instagram story or whatever and show that she's a real normal person, a real mom who her and her husband go out on a date night, just like most couples. But she won't share their conversation, like their intimate conversation. She says, no, that's private. But you get to see that I am a real person going out to dinner with my husband because, and that shows a personal side. It's not just me at the office.
Exactly.
But no, I'm not going to share all my private details. Like there's a difference between opening up. Gary has obviously drawn the line at his wife and kids are not in any of his videos, and 98% of his life is on video.
Yep.
But he's drawn the line there. But he talks about them.
Yep.
He lets you know that he's a real guy who takes, time to have vacation with his family. He just chooses not to show it. So you can have your boundary wherever you choose to have it, but you still, really should open up enough to show your clients and your audience that you're a real person, not this billboard brand that's always perfect.
True. So I have my own opinions on some of the mistakes that new agents make, meaning brand spanking new into the business. I want to come into real estate because I want to make $1 million, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
What advice would you give a new agent coming into the business? And what else would you say is the best way to find a broker that they think is going to go through their, fill their needs? I might have just threw one in there for you to almost open up the door, but
Well, I mean, so, you get your license. The first thing you got to do is choose a home, right? You got to find a broker.
Yep.
So hopefully agents who, if you're out there thinking about getting into real estate, start researching brokers first. So you don't have to just hang your license and figure it out as you go. To give everyone a little bit of backstory on me, now that I'm with EXP, this is broker number 7 for me in a little over 8 years.
So you get around. Huh?
Yeah, well, so when I started, I was almost recruited. I was a manager who, do you guys remember when the BP oil spill hit down here in the Gulf?
Yep.
So I was a manager for a rental management company, and got laid off because of the oil spill. Business went to shit, so they laid people off. So the company I was with, they also do real estate. So the lady who was in charge of the real estate team in my area, when she saw me get laid off, she was like, hey, you've got a good personality. You would do good in sales. You should get your real estate license. That's how I got into real estate. So by default, I went and joined her broker when I got my license. And it wasn't the greatest fit. So the first thing I think you should do is do some homework, talk to some agents that most people who get their license get it because they know people in real estate in their local market.
They say you'll be good at doing this, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, or they see the other agent driving the BMW and hanging out all day, not doing any real work, and they watch HGTV. So, they probably, have some people they know. So talk to them, but don't talk to them about how great real estate is. Talk to them about their broker, because now 9 years in, I feel like the broker should work for you. The broker's job is not for him to crack the whip and demand office hours and meetings and cold calls and to get his whatever his percentage is. His job should be to sit down, find out what your goals are, and he should be helping you hit your goals. He or she, I guess I shouldn't be sexist. Bad, Rick. So do your homework on the brokers and just ask some agents around, how available is the broker? If you have a problem, are they easy to get a hold of? Do you get your questions answered quickly? And is there mentorship available? What I ran into here is the seasoned agents. As a new agent, when I would say, hey, I've got a listing appointment, I've never done a listing before, could you help me out? The first question is, well, what's in it for me? They want a fee, or they want a kickback, or they want something. So there's a lot of people that are just not really willing to help unless you're doing something for them. So some brokerages now offer like a mentor program, for your first 3 to 5 deals to kind of get your feet wet. See if this broker has a mentor program. Or honestly, with teams being such a big deal right now, I would maybe seek out a team and get on as a buyer's agent to start and learn the ropes. Get your first couple of years under you, start building your database and getting some experience as a team. And you can do a team anywhere.
Yeah.
But
some of the things that I look at, and I might disagree on some of them from a broker perspective, obviously, because I wear a lot of different hats.
Sure.
Because sometimes I agree the broker really should be working for his agents, okay, in regards of finding out what their goals are. But every once in a while, we sit down and we go over that, and you and I are a lot different than a lot of the other people in our industry. We go out, we go get it. We put our stuff on our computers or whatever it is and say, all right, this is what I want to do. What do I have to do to go get there?
Right.
And then we're disciplined enough to go after it. Unfortunately, sometimes people get into that, lazy phase, for lack of a better term, where they get comfortable.
Yeah.
Where it's like, all right, I've got these deals on the board, and that, I know I'm going to hit my mark. It was like, well, if 1 or 2 of those deals fall apart, then your mark just fell apart.
Yeah.
So every once in a while, I think it's not a bad thing for brokers to be able to crack a whip and say, hey, we had these conversations about goals, and what are you doing to help achieve those goals when it comes to stuff?
Yeah. And so here's why I said it the way I said it, is if I, as Johnny New agent, come in and I say, hey, look, because for me personally, one of the reasons why I love real estate is, I have 3 kids,
Yep.
and my wife, she's a career, corporate woman. So she's a 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, salaried, with a bonus type employee. So taking the kids to school, picking the kids up, attending a lot of the school stuff is hard for her. So the reason why I love real estate is I get to do all of that stuff. So when I say the broker works for me is because if I say, okay, well, I only need to make $60,000 a year because time with my kids is more important, then as long as I'm doing that, I don't want the broker telling me, Rick, why aren't you at the office? Why aren't you making your cold calls? Why aren't you doing this? Because, I don't need to. I'm an agent. I'm not an employee. And if I'm hitting my financial goals, then as far as I'm concerned, the broker should just be happy that I'm happy and let me be. Now, if the broker has their own goals and they're not hitting them because I'm not a top producer, well, then they should go out and recruit a top producer. But because what I don't think is right is I've seen in the past firsthand is I've seen people who have they're in real estate for the lifestyle, not for the money. And I've seen brokers that just browbeat them because they're out surfing with their daughter rather than showing property because they have goals. The broker has goals and they want everybody to sell $10 million a year. And I'm like, but if she didn't get into real estate to be a top producer, then either, you need to let her go and let her go find a broker that's going to, like I said, help you achieve your goals.
Yep.
Or you need to hire more agents. So I see it from the broker's perspective too, but I think both sides just need to be honest with each other and talk to your broker and say, hey, look, my husband makes a lot of money or my wife makes a lot of money. I only need to sell 15 houses a year because I want to spend as much time with my kids as I can before they grow up. Is this a good place for me? And then that way, that you're both on the same page. I think that's probably the best way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a more honest approach as to, okay, well, because everybody comes in and says I want to make $1 million.
Right.
I mean, it's just like, oh yeah, real estate. Yeah, I see this on I watch $1 Million listing and HGTV. We just make $1 million here and not do anything, not do any work for it.
Right. It's different. If I come in and I say, hey George, can I join your brokerage? I want to be a top producer. But then I don't make phone calls and I don't go on appointments. That's totally different. Then you have every right to beat my ass. Yeah.
Yeah. But see, I've seen certain situations where people, they want money, they need money, they articulate that they want money, and then don't do any of those things or use any of those tools, and then the broker sits back and goes, what else would you like me to do?
Yeah.
I can only do so much. What's your when you're going back into the conversation as far as choosing a broker? We've seen a lot of times, and up this way, up in the northern countries. It used to be northern, so
used to be.
A long time, yeah, it used to be. Of a lot of new agents, as the expression goes, you go where the money is. Well, who's giving me the most amount of money? What's your take on that? I have my own take, but I'd love to hear yours.
Well, and in the 7 brokerages I've been with, I've had 50-50 splits, and I've gone all the way up to the 100% brokerages. So again, it's a balance, because I can say when I was at 50-50 and my broker was giving me leads and giving me all this stuff, I wasn't happy, because with that, if your broker is giving you all of the technology and all the leads and all the systems, and they're paying for your cards, paying for this, paying for signs, paying for everything, then they're going to expect a lot in return. Like, they really are going to expect you to be more, in my opinion, more of an employee mindset, because they're investing a lot in you. And then on the flip side of that, the 100% brokerage was almost like I was completely on my own. Like, they didn't give a shit what I was doing, where I was. I never talked to anybody. I never saw anybody. I mean, it was just like, Ricky G's on an island all by himself. So, for me, where I am right now, and I'm not going to turn this into a pitch for my brokerage, but where I am right now is just a really good blend of the two.
Okay.
So we're at an 80-20, which I think for my first 7-8 years in the business, an 80-20 is a good split.
Okay.
I have the freedom and flexibility. As you see now, I'm in my home office. I'm not sitting floor duty or in a desk or something at an office space. And I have a nationwide brokerage with all of the technology and support behind me. So I feel like right now, the reason why I'm so happy here is because it does feel like a good mix and a good blend of the structure of the big corporate box brokerage and the freedom of the 100% I don't give a shit brokerage. So it's a really good mix for me. So the money side of it, I mean, you gotta weigh the odds. I mean, if you go at 100%, all the expenses are you. If you don't sell anything, you get 100% of nothing. Congratulations. You go to a place where they take 50% of your money, but they're giving you leads and systems and everything. Maybe you sell more homes and your 50% is enough. For me, I just like a blend. So
was when you were, did they have any graduated scales, just out of curiosity, like based off of production in some of those other places?
Yeah. One of them, actually the last one before I joined EXP, on my team, the whole brokerage was set up this way, but yeah, they started you off at 50-50. And then as you hit certain benchmarks, you would increase up, and then you capped, I think they capped you at 75 or 80.
Okay.
So you never went past 80. Here with us, you start at 80 and then you go to 100 once you cap.
Okay.
So, but there's no graduation.
Just for all the listeners to know, all commission splits are negotiable. Have to make sure that it's in there. Every brokerage company has their own set of things of what they want to do. So
there's so many.
Let's just make sure we're throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it all. Like I said, I mean, I've even heard of, and I've never been part of it, but I've even heard of people out there that are paying as little as 30% to the agent. Because they put they're almost building teams like an industrial like press or something, like, okay, so you do this piece and that's all you do. You really are more like an employee. So because you only work with buyers and you only write the contract, you don't even show. They have showing agents, then you just do the contract. They only pay you 30%, but they're funneling leads and business through like crazy. So 30%, you end up making a good amount of money. Okay. But I just feel at that point, you're not really a realtor. Like, you're not doing this business of real estate. You're just writing contracts.
You're just writing stuff up. Yeah. You're
right. And then if, like you said, if you want to be an entrepreneur and have your own business, that's not the lifestyle for you. You don't want to be sitting in an office just writing contracts all day.
No, hell no.
So.
But the other half of that, which actually now is bringing me to a more interesting question, is, so when you go on those higher levels, mm-hmm. right? I know a lot of the times part of the allure of a 50-50 or graduated commission before an 80-100 is, your broker's engaged with you, or they have a manager that's engaged with you, and they kind of, help you along those processes, or if you have a problem.
Sure.
What happens in your situation when you have a problem? Is it all on you as part of that? Is it they still are part of it? It's,
No,
that's a lot of, obviously agents nowadays, there are some agents that they know, okay, I can trust this guy because he does all of these deals, mm-hmm. and that's why he's at this 80% or his 90%, or whatever his number is. I don't have to worry about him. If I do, there's a bigger issue here. So how would, in your situation, how does that work?
Well, it's funny because I take every opportunity I can to really let my broker know just how freaking awesome he is, because when I was local with a boutique brokerage where my mm-hmm. broker sat 3-4 offices away, he was less accessible than Randy is, and Randy's in Tampa, which is about a good 6.5-7 hours for me. Okay. So the one thing I like about what my brokerage has done is, because we have a state broker. Mm-hmm. So, Randy is the broker for the entire state of Florida, and there's quite a few agents in the state of Florida right now with EXP. So what they've done is they've grown a broker team around him. So he has a team of, I don't even know how many people he has right now, but he's got quite a few other brokers who work with him. And then they have assistants. So anytime I have a question about a contract, and again, these are all Florida brokers, so they know the Florida contracts, they know Florida law, they know, the process. Anytime I have a question, I mean, I can reach out to them. We use that Voxer app.
Okay.
And so we have, dedicated emails set up for if I need a signature on something like a listing or anything that I need a signature on. There's a certain email that I send it DocuSign to that email.
Okay.
And that gets noticed quicker than if I just have a question. And then if I have an urgent question, then I reach out through Voxer. And I can tell you in the 2 years I've been here, other than one time when Randy ended up in the hospital with an emergency, I get response within 5 minutes with any question I have. And it's actually something that I use when I'm talking to new agents who are thinking of joining.
Mm-hmm.
I'll challenge them. I'm like, get your broker now on the phone. And if your broker responds before my broker, then stay where you are. And I'll Voxer Randy, and he's momentarily. And theirs is like, hasn't even, responded or emailed or nothing. So they've done a really good job of realizing that we're growing real quickly. We got a bunch of agents, but that, one of the things that they cannot skimp on is the support. So they've grown the broker team pretty quickly. And then, with all the cloud systems and all the different, transaction support systems, it's easy for them to monitor what we're doing and jump in if we need help.
See, that's one of the things that I'm real big on. At least here within our company is they can never say they can't get me or my dad or somebody. Yeah. The only time you can't necessarily get me is if I'm coaching, if I'm in the middle of coaching a 2-hour practice. Right. Then they know you leave me a message and I walk out of practice. I say I got a phone call. I come back, I call you, I say, what's the issue? Let's go from there.
And that's what you need. You need, because brokers are busy, I get it. You got a lot going on running a business, but the agents need to know that 90% of the stuff we'll handle on our own, or we have a peer that's done it before. And, we'll go up the chain of command. We won't go, directly to the broker for every little thing. Yeah. But if it gets bad enough where we need the broker to step in, like we really need to know that you're there. And that you're going to respond and that you're going to, have our back and help us. I mean, that's the comfort of having a broker. If I didn't want that, I'd just go open up my own shop, but I don't want that kind of responsibility or liability.
Listen, I hear it all the time. And one of the things that I tell new agents coming into the business, I said, look, it's not just that you have to service your client, but understand one main thing, or what I have to understand. A broker has two sets of clients. Mm-hmm. He's got the clients from his agents, and then those agents are also the broker's clients. Right. So if you're not providing a service to your agents as well as their clients, then you're essentially out of business, for lack of a better term. Yeah. So I think that we get, some of us sometimes we get caught up in the fact that we say buyers and sellers are our clients as brokers. I'm like, no, our clients is not only buyers and sellers, but they're the agents that have those clients in the first place. Because you've got to be able to obviously withstand that and at least provide some value to them to say, okay, I'm being taught this, I'm being taught that. I know if I got a problem, I make a phone call and it gets dealt with right away. If I can't get one guy, I get the other guy, or vice versa. So,
well, that's the thing too. You touched on it there. You said provide value. I mean, we as agents in our space, where we live, George, we're always trying to provide value to our clients or to the public so that we can get business. Brokers have really, I think a lot of brokers have to really up their game and think of different ways they can provide more value to the agents. I think, in the last 5 years, they've kind of gotten very complacent, and it's like, oh, we'll get a CRM and we'll give them an email address and we'll provide a box of cards and, we'll give them a free name tag, and it's like,
what is up with name tags nowadays? I'm watching those things nowadays, and I'm like, okay, back when I first got in this business 26 years ago, I'm like, all right, I understand it was this really cool thing, but now you have shirts that you have your name on. I'm like,
I got a new
people
one.
People actually like,
this is my new one.
Oh well, I have a few of those with the one that say president and local board and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
this is the only one I have, and I have to wear it whenever I go to my leadership development.
I'm sitting back, I'm going, I don't wear this. Like, I got one back here for my state, right? And I was chair, and it's good for a year.
Yeah.
Good for a year. And I'm
But
kind of
you know, but this is the thing is, you know, like this, and not this particular one, but if your value, you know, just like we're always talking about, you know, the agents right now are so scared, you know, Amazon's going to take over real estate, or Facebook's going to buy whatever, or Zillow's going to take. We're all worried about our jobs being overtaken by some website or whatever. Okay, great. So we are always talking about increasing our value.
mm-hmm.
Brokers really need to step it up. I mean, I can go out. It was one reason why I felt confident when I went out to this 100% brokerage was I can get my own CRM. I can pay Google $50 a year and get a Gmail account with whatever website I want on it. Like I can duplicate everything my broker gave me for, you know, a couple $100 a month, you know? So if it's that easy to replace what your broker value prop is, brokers have got to up their game.
You got to reevaluate your evaluation process. What your value content is.
Is this thing, you know? Did you see the Agent 2021 recap video where Gary Vee is talking to the guy in the audience and said that, you know, he would take a lower cut, and what he would do is he would help his agents build their personal brand, and that would be how he would win, because he wouldn't make it about Gary V broker. He would make it about George the agent and help you grow your brand. And so many teams and so many brokers are afraid of that. They want to push Keller Williams or EXP or Remax or whatever the broker is. They want that to be the brand, that they're not helping the agents. And I think it's going to change. I think shit's going to hit the fan here pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's always afraid of new technology or this happening or that happening. And there's three words that I've said a bunch of different times. It's not new. It's not something that just I came out of left field, but it's adapt or die.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. I mean, look, I came in this business back in 1992. I don't practice the same way that I practiced in 1992.
Yeah.
We've got 3 times the amount of disclosures, 3 times the amount of paperwork that we used to have. Right? I mean, we didn't have these things, these cell phones, and what do you call it? I don't even know if we had beepers at the time. That said the word beeper, and damn, you know. So back in '92, did we have beepers? Yeah, no, actually, we had beepers. Yeah,
I had beepers. I remember I got my first cell phone in '94. It was one of those big StarTAC, Motorola StarTAC.
Yep.
But yeah, I think I had a beeper before that. Yeah, 92, 91, 92 beepers. So, yeah, Sir Mix-a-Lot beeper. I remember. But yeah, so I mean, you know, for new agents, I mean, just you got to do your homework. You got to realize, you know, why'd you get into real estate? Is it for lifestyle? Do you want to be, you know, a millionaire and be a Ryan Serhant guy? You know what your goal is, and then find a broker who's going to help you achieve the goal, whatever it is. But it still needs to be your goal.
Yeah, one of the things I always say to any new agent that comes in, and I said, listen, I'll meet with you as many times as you want to sit down and meet and go over goals. Mm-hmm. And I spoke to an agent coincidentally about a week or 2 ago, and they're thinking about changing brokerage companies. And we don't actually go out and recruit, which I've had, I mean, hell, you've told me, a bunch of people have told me, that's just stupid. And I'm like, I don't necessarily believe in going after somebody else's people. If they're not happy, well, then we could have a conversation. You can reach out and we'll talk.
Yeah.
But I had somebody reach out to me and was interested. And I said, look, when was the last time you talked to your broker? And they said, like 10 months. And I go, no, really. And they go, no, really.
Yeah.
And I said, how is that possible? Like, not even just to say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while, or you're doing a good job. You've had a bunch of closings, that kind of stuff. So, no.
Well, some of these brokers, I mean, they are absent parents. I mean, they get the agents in, they get them registered with all their systems probably through their admin or whatever they have. And the brokers are I mean, gone.
Yeah, I never
team leads
never
and admins, and they rely on everybody else. But brokers there's a lot of brokers that are extremely hands off, and I just don't get it. Like, at that point, why are you a broker?
Yeah,
like, get a different job.
Yeah, but
what else you got?
I appreciate you coming on. You are the 3rd guest on the Gripe Session, so I'm going to ask you. And listen, you're following you're following the two people that I've had guests before. You're following two New York Mets. I mean, kids who might,
At some point, you had to reach a little higher and, increase, raise your standards.
See, I thought I was going down after that. I mean, I was going to say the bar after I had Doc Gooden, who, again, was also Yankee too, which had shuddered me to say that, and Mookie Wilson. I'm like, all right, like, I started here. Now it's just all freaking downhill at this point.
Probably gonna get a bunch of hate mail from all the Mets fans. They're like, what was this podcast again? He sucks.
So anyway, I asked them the same question, and I'm going to ask you.
All right.
What's give me one thing that just ticks you off to no end, and it doesn't make a difference if it's real estate related. It doesn't make a difference what it is outside of coming on this podcast. What's the one thing that agitates Rick to go, damn, what's wrong with people, or what's wrong with this individual?
Okay, I'm going to say this one only because it's a Monday through Friday everyday freaking thing, and it's gotten so bad that now my 7-year-old daughter in the back of the car echoes my frustration. I mean, she's just a little mini version of me. So when I go to drop my kids off at school in the morning, okay, there are 3 lanes that the local sheriff's department is funneling the kids into, right? And there's a big freaking sign next to the sheriff. Please, pull all the way forward to drop your kids off, right? So all the way forward puts their poor little sweetheart snowflake child 100 yards from the door of the school, right? Heaven forbid, little Joey Bag of Donuts has got to walk 100 yards. So as you got both directions of the street are funneled into one entrance, right? So because that one lady, and there's more than one, but just the one that's in front of me, she stops right there. Both sides of the street are backed up. People are stuck in, like, turning in. The whole thing is blocked off so that Johnny or Susie can get out of the car and not have to walk 100 feet. But it gets better. You got the whole drive to school to make sure that Johnny or Susie's got their shit together, right? They got their backpack. They're ready to go. But no, they're not ready to go. They open up the door. They got to have a conversation. They got to give it a little kiss goodbye. And then they got to go to the trunk or the back of the SUV to get their freaking backpack. And I swear to God, George, every morning I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Like, when I pull up, my kids, I mean, they're ready to go. Like, I pull up, I unlock the door, I say, have a good day at school, boom, 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 and I'm out like 5 seconds. These guys, it's like a 15-minute, like they're dropping their husband off at the airport and won't see him for a year.
You must have a video camera in my car. You pretty much just in a different way, mind you. But you've described when I take the kids to school and I just sit back, and now the kids are like, they come home and they go, "Ma, Daddy called this one an idiot, now I'm an idiot, and this, that, and the other thing." And what makes it even worse is there's times that I have my signs on the side of the car. So it's like perfect advertising at that point. It's,
I know.
oh, by the way, this guy thinks you're a moron. Well, yeah, dummy, and I just said it all over social media too.
Olivia's sitting in the back of the car in her little booster seat, and she's like, "Come on already! Like, what are you doing?" And I sit down like. So that's when you realize, because then she sounds just like a little mini version of me, but it does. I mean, that right there, that and there's a lot of stuff that buyers do in real estate, but that's every single.
That's the main one. Listen, I feel it. Like I said, there's a lot of, we could almost start an entirely separate podcast about just some of the stuff that agitates us. Maybe we'll do that on another episode. What small little things that agitate us in this business.
Whole gripe session on that.
Oh my Lord.
Whole session.
That's one. But Rick, I appreciate you. Just let everybody know where they can find you again, if they want.
Yeah. So, on Instagram, you can find me. If you want to follow me personally, it's rick.a.gonzalez. And the podcast is The Modern Agent Podcast. You can find it on iTunes, Facebook, modernagentpodcast.com. I'm pretty much everywhere. You're either going to find me or you're going to find that actor from Coach Carter.
It's still funny when you say it.
Well, that's where I can't get any good handles. I can't get any good handles on social media because he got them all already. So I got to throw my middle initial in there. I got to throw some shit at the end. So,
All
Damn
right.
Puerto Ricans, they ruin everything.
Well, if you need anybody down in Florida, definitely look Ricky up. He's one of my go-to people down there in Florida, especially down in Freeport. So, Ricky, thanks for popping on, and
Absolutely,
we'll
man.
catch you on the next time, man.
Appreciate you having me. Go Yankees.
Thanks for listening to the Gripe Session. Please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram.